What's up everybody, Kinetic here, and welcome to my gameplay review for Mobius Final Fantasy. This is a free-to-play mobile Final Fantasy game that doesn't compromise tactical gameplay for the sake of being a handheld game. Your character in Mobius is prophesized to potentially become the next Warrior of Light, and you'll be led along and run into a very interesting cast of characters while also encountering a lot of baddies using some very authentic Final Fantasy feeling skills and abilities. Combat in the game feels almost real-time strategy at certain points with how fluid and fast the action can become, but is very much a turn-based strategy game. And you'll need those moments to pause and think about probably your next actions, especially as you just start getting into the game and understanding how the element system works. It's a simple concept that takes a little bit of time to master. You'll be encountering different enemies with their own strengths in elements. For example, you may fight a wind element enemy, and to do the most damage against them, you want to hit them with their weakness, which is earth element. But in case you don't have access to earth element abilities, then you can simply use other elements, just don't use the same element, otherwise you'll end up actually healing your enemy rather than hurting them. And this barely scratches the surface of the tactical gameplay in Mobius. You'll be going through your character customization through different sets of jobs and skills that are based on cards and characters that represent those cards. For example, you may find a Shiva card, which of course is ice, and then you will level up that card, which will give you more and more powerful abilities based on that card. And to execute the use of that ability, you will gather the elements as you actually fight the enemies. You can see these colorful orbs that will be kind of floating around each of the enemies, and by attacking the enemies, you will absorb those elemental orbs, which will empower the cards and allow you to unleash that ability. It's really important to pay attention when going into missions to understand what kind of elemental boss you'll be going up against, customizing your deck appropriately, and understanding the best timing of when to unleash those abilities. The most satisfying feeling I get from this game is from successfully completing a mission and having done it really efficiently, like making sure that I'm spending orbs appropriately to either shield myself or use abilities at the right time, making sure that I'm not taking excessive damage, and just kind of getting to the final stage of each mission without already being half beat up before the final battle even begins. Okay, so this all sounds like it's kind of complicated and would take a while to actually get through a mission, but it really doesn't. Here you can see I'm just switching out one of my Final Fantasy jobs from Ranger to Warrior. I'm going to change out some of the ability cards that I have set up here because you are restricted in what kind of elements you can use with what jobs, which allows kind of you to have a reason to switch between jobs instead of leveling an all-powerful single warrior, for example, who will not have access to all of the tricks at your disposal. So there's a lot of replayability simply through the need for leveling multiple jobs and lots of different card abilities here. It may feel a bit grindy at times, but I actually find it to be quite satisfying. So I'm just laying out some things here. I know I'm up against an earth element. I can't equip any good wind element cards at this time, so the ice will have to do along with the fire. Thankfully, you don't need any specific cards to have defensive abilities versus elements. Once all my stuff is set up, then I'm ready for battle. You go through a few different waves. The first wave is going to be really quite easy in most cases. This battle is going to be a little bit tougher. The rating told me that it's got quite a high difficulty level, but what I'm doing right now is I just spent the earth orbs to give myself an earth shield against the enemies. You can tell that they're earth element enemies because it actually, right there where the white hand is pointing to their health bar, right next to that finger is the element that it's showing. See here, I'm just breaking down their sort of shield, their initial health bar, which is below the green there, to weaken it. And once I've successfully burned through that bar, then I can actually more directly and more efficiently get through and damage their main health bar. Unleashing a powerful attack there, which actually damaged both of these guys. There's single target abilities and there's multi-target abilities. There you can see I got through his protective health bar there to really deal a ton of damage to his main health bar. Here, I'm breaking down what's left, that red section there. And once I do, then there, it causes a break. And now at this point, it's a good idea to have some elemental abilities like that saved up, so that way you can unleash extremely powerful attacks. Like, regardless of whether it's their weak element or not, it will damage them like so much more than it would normally if they still had that shield underneath their main health bar. Now these guys are really weak. I don't even need to worry about breaking down their barriers or anything like that. I can just hit them with anything pretty much, and they will go down relatively quickly here. I'm also kind of just using basic attacks as well to kind of build up my elemental orbs. You can see up at the top I've got a bunch of fire, a bunch of ice here. I'm using up the ice, and I've got a couple of hearts which represent your healing. And you can activate a really small heal or a large heal like this, depending on what your needs are. But it's really important, really important to understand what the element is you're up against. And you won't always be up against a single element. Sometimes you'll be up against both, maybe wind and earth, for example. And so you'll need to have to spend possibly your orbs on multiple elemental defensive shields, which of course those are the same orbs that empower your offensive attacks. So you have to think about this carefully, like what's more important at what time, offense or defense. Here I can switch my focused target and switch back at any time if I want to. Here I'm going to unleash a big AoE fire damage attack with that. And my shield has worn off. I've only got a couple of earth orbs, so I think I'll wait until I've got a few more. Just hit with some basic attacks there. Okay, now I've got a bunch of earth, so now I'll go ahead and activate a shield. Again, you can see that the number of orbs affects the sort of the number of shields that you have, that you'll gain when you activate that ability. Now, a lot of the times, these magical attacks like that will not be that effective, again, at affecting and destroying their health bars, but can be really good at breaking down their initial shield. Sometimes melee attacks will seem really weak, so then you can try instead to break down that barrier with magical attacks. There's a big heal coming up right there. That's really cool. A little bit of a shield. So I've got some fire and I've got some ice orbs built up here. I'm just going to whittle away at what's left of that shield bar. A little bit more. Almost there. It's really not being affected that much by melee attacks, but we're so close. Screw it. Fire attack. Boom. All right, now. Oh no, his shield. I thought his shield was down. It wasn't. Oh well. There we go. Now it's finally broken. I've still got a ton of ice. Unleash the attack, and he is done. Timing is important. And you can't get too click happy with this game either. Like, this is not a button or tapping, mashing game, I suppose. And you can, really have great results. There is an auto attack feature, but I find this game to be so much more satisfying to doing manually rather than having the game play for me. Let's get some Earth Shield going. I'm not worried about fire attacks because that guy's dead already now. So now here, I think I'll go ahead and blast him with some fire, see what happens. There we go. So we're halfway through the initial bar. Okay, now that's done. Now at this point, when it's red like that, it's usually good to just go ahead and hit it with melee attacks. So it's gonna take a few hits. Go ahead and heal myself up. I'm getting quite low now. There. Now his defense is broken. Hit him with some ice attacks. Gonna have to hit him with some melee to build up my elemental orbs again. There we go. They get their shields back quite quickly, so it's really important to make sure that you're ready once you've broken down their barriers and got them into that broken state. If you're completely drained of orbs and you've broken their defenses, then you're really not going to get very much accomplished in that situation. So timing, preparation, all very important in these fights. Bam, there we go. Broken his defense. And now it's only a couple more hits. Boom. And he's done. We're moving on to the next mission, I guess. That was it. And that was pretty fun. So you can see that it will not take long to get through these missions. Some are a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter, but overall it's a very satisfying experience. Here you can see all the experience I'm gaining for my account, for my job, for the different cards that I brought with me. Awesome. And there you have it, guys. That is my first look review for Mobius Final Fantasy. This really doesn't quite capture everything that this game has to offer, but I think it's a nice primer for you guys to understand what you're getting yourselves into. A free-to-play game with near console quality graphics and gameplay here. This is really, really impressive stuff. I have been waiting for the mobile technology to reach this point, and it's getting there. It really, really is. This is a really cool Final Fantasy experience backed up by some of the Square Enix's most talented writers for story, characters, and music from Final Fantasy 7 and 10 working here on this game. I think that you guys will really like this as well. If you want to know more, if you want to check it out, more details and things like that, look in the description of this video. I'll have links to the official site and things like that. That's all for now, guys. I want to know what you think now down in the comment section below. Click the like button to support these first look videos here. I'm rolling these out on as close to a weekly basis as I can, and your support really means a lot. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next video. Thanks again for watching. My name is Kinetic, and I'll see you next time.